Hello and welcome back to the Honour Estimate and another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. We're just over 2 weeks away from WrestleMania 42 and the roster is doing everything it can to hype the PLE. And yeah, we've got Cody Rhodes looking to ruin Randy Orton's homecoming, Rhea Ripley addressing Cargill, Meechin and B-Fab, and a look at the feud between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre as the highlights for the show. But we start things off with the usual shots of superstars arriving and a recap of the Cody Stephanie McMahon promo from Raw as we went live to Randy Orton in the arena. He spent a long time letting his music play as he paced the ring. His hometown crowd still wanted to cheer for him despite being a heel and couldn't help but smile when they started chanting his name. He points out his family in the front row and said he's doing all of this for them and what they came across. He tried some heel lines but it did make the crowd cheer louder. As expected, Rose came down to the ring and got in front of him. In a surprising turn, Pat McAfee showed up, kicked Rose below the belt and helping Orton get this out. He gave a heel promo while the Viper continued to crown Rose with a steel chair. There was a lot of speculation about who Orton was talking to, and Pat McAfee was not one who I expected it to be. And yeah, it's a surprise, but probably not a good thing. It feels random and does nothing to help establish Orton as a bigger threat. So yeah, I'm going to give it time, but I'm not convinced, to be honest. Moving on then to the next match, and that was Meechin versus Rhea Ripley. And yeah, and after a couple of minutes, Ripley was in control, but got distracted when Cargill showed up at ringside. This allowed Meechin to hit a German suplex as the show cut to a break. The Eradicator eventually made a comeback and used her prison trap submission to get the victory. She wouldn't let go of the hold until B-Fab attacked her. It took some help from Sky to send Cargill and her friends packing, even though the outcome is extremely predictable. So back and forth. I think it's the best Meechin's looked in a while, to be fair, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. As we then got Tonga, who had some harsh words for Solo Sikoa about what they were fighting for over Langton. So Solo told him to go and fight Uncle Howdy. Tama was up for the task but said he wanted to do it alone. The break came quickly, but Tang was firmly in control at this point. Neither man had the respective stable with them, so it was a fair fight for once. This was pretty physical, but it felt like something was missing. There was no sense of urgency. It felt more like they were going through the motions and then having a brutal grudge match, which is how it should have felt. Howdy had Tonga locked in the mandible claw when Sikoa showed up and tried to interfere with the lantern. The ref caught him and Tonga told him he wanted to see this lane before turning right to his sister Abigail for the victory. After the match, Tonga ripped the lantern out of Solo's hands and allowed Uncle Howdy to reclaim it. It looks like the MFTs had some internal problems to deal with. So yeah, just didn't really have the energy, but I don't know, an intriguing story there. 5 out of 10. Moving on into Sami Zayn, who was talking to Nick Aldis backstage before his promo, but Trick Williams' music hit and he came to the ring with Lil Yachty. They proceeded to give a speech about how Williams will win the US title at Mania from Zayn. Williams called for some promo, but it led to Zayn coming to the ring and said the champ told Trick he's in over his head because he's about to step in the ring with one of the best. The crowd was behind Williams and more with Zayn, which made the segment even more awkward. Hayes showed up and said he's upset with how things went down last week. He and Zayn went back and forth about what happened with Mello, talking into a rematch next week. Zayn ended the segment clotheslining winning over the top rope. The segment starts off weak, but it finished on with a strong main event to come. Moving on into the run-in backstage earlier with Matt Cardona and Alex Black leading to a match. Selena Vega with Black. They started with some simple takedowns, but Cardona's injured arms were giving him some problems, and it became the match focus for the Dutch Destroyer. It made sense for this match to become about Cardona's arm, but it also prevents them from having the kind of contest we know they could have with no hindrances. They did some decent work in this bout, but you could see their lack of experience working together, showing a bit. Both men are veterans, so it wasn't overly dubious, but if they even have more matches, they will definitely improve on this one. Back to they took the victory in this one, but there was a good chance this is just the first match in an ongoing feud. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. We then got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and yeah, all of these four are baby faces, but there's a lot of history between them, so yeah, there's enough necessity to make it personal. Lyra and Charlotte ended up getting the first legal competitors after Bliss and Bayley fought out of the ring. The show cut to in a break with Bliss and Flair in control. Most of this match was fine. The fact that Bayley and Lyra booked to lose cleanly this close to Mania felt a bit strange. Booking one at a time, fighting for the titles this week close to the PLE doesn't make sense, but a clean finish is still better than interference. Lash and Legend and Nia showed up after and took her one out, so the result felt pretty meaningless. 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to R-Truth and Damian Priest versus Kit Wilson and The Miz for the titles. I mean, their first match as titles, but whatever. Before heading to the ring, Danhausen offered to remove the curse from Miz and Wilson, but the A-list yelled at him, so the curse was still in effect. Wilson and Truth started for their teams, and it was immediately clear this would be a comedy match. This week's show was pretty weak overall, and adding this match didn't do it any favours. They didn't do a bad job, but it was a predictable outcome. Danhausen arrived and wanted The Miz to tag him in, which the ref tried to tell him wasn't legal. The A-lister screamed at him to go away and tried to talk to the ref, so Truth tagged in Danhausen instead. Miz tried to take Danhausen with his finisher, But he disappeared. When it looked like The Miz was going to win, the ref suddenly had a problem with his arm due to Danhausen accidentally cursing him. You did read that correctly. Priest, for the win, forgot the win for his team, but the ref still acted like his arm was in pain. Some of this was funny, some of it was a bit of a waste of time. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. I mean, yeah, I like Danhausen, but I mean, with the tag title stuff, Damian Priest was world champion a couple of years ago. I don't know, it didn't feel great in this place, to be honest, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. This week's main event was the US Championship match between Sami Zayn and Carmelo Hayes. They agreed earlier. They got started with about 30 minutes left in the show, so it wouldn't be a long match. They wasted no time locking holds and trading them. Williams and Lil Dossie sat to watch the match next to the announce table. As the show went to its final break, Melo hit a huge dive and began sending a leg injury. We all know how these work together after the previous matches, so it should come as a surprise. They ended up putting on the best performance of the night. They hit each other with their best shots, but it was Zayn who emerged the winner thanks to a heel kick. Williams attacked Zayn after the match, and Yachty joined in to help. So yeah, clean finish as well. I thought maybe it might go to a triple threat match, but I thought it was a fun match, and yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see where it goes. So 7 out of 10. And overall Smackdown this week gets a 4 out of 10 from me. I mean, yeah, the main event was okay, but I mean, this was a pretty long, unmemorable episode of Smackdown. WWE, I mean, this close to Mania, just didn't really feel like they were doing a good job. Lots of repetitive storylines. McAfee joining Orton was a surprise, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily a good one, to be fair. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.